The Amazing World of Gumball didn't just make us laugh. It also knew how to explore the deepest emotions. In this journey through the saddest episodes, we discover how the series tackles themes like guilt, broken family, and unconditional love, always with that unique blend of humor and sensitivity. Today, I invite you to dive into the choices and the origin, two chapters that reveal the complexity and beauty behind the animation. 1. Chaos and Collapse. The dinner at the Watterson house is presented from the very first moment as a scene filled with tension and absolute chaos. More than just a meal, the moment feels like a battlefield where every member fights for their share of the food amid screams and complaints filling the kitchen. The kids, Gumball, Darwin, and Anais, are in the middle of a total uprising with overlapping voices and demands turning into war cries. Nicole, the mother, is on the verge of an emotional breakdown, trapped in frustration, trying unsuccessfully to bring order, while Richard, the father, with his clumsiness and good intentions, tries to help but only makes things worse. In this disorder, the kitchen ends up a disaster. The fries become an indigestible lump, the meat soft and tasteless, and an accidental stove fire unleashes the final chaos. The mix of humor and disorder creates a setting to explore family tensions, where love is momentarily overshadowed by desperation. This beginning is more than a comic scene. It reflects a dysfunctional yet genuine family, where each member battles internal and external struggles. The blame falls on Richard, whose clumsy actions trigger unfortunate events, but soon we see the problems run deeper, involving everyone. The dinner, which should be a moment of unity, becomes the catalyst that unleashes emotional wounds and unresolved conflicts. Thus, this scene lays the groundwork for a deeper exploration of the emotions and challenges the Watterson family faces, showing that humor can coexist with pain and difficulty. 2. Ghosts of the Past. The story then takes us back to Nicole's childhood, a period marked by harsh expectations and constant pressure from her mother. Despite earning outstanding grades, Nicole is never enough to satisfy her mother's demands, whose rigid, empathy-free speech sends a painful message. Being a woman doesn't exempt her from meeting impossible standards. This environment of severity and constant disapproval plants a seed of insecurity and self-demand in Nicole that will haunt her for life. In a flashback full of energy and chaotic humor, Nicole runs desperately to make it to an important tournament, crossing the park no matter the obstacles, from frightened babies to the iconic Banana Bob, whose annoying guitar sound represents a terrifying future for her. The scene with Banana Bob is a surreal metaphor, illustrating Nicole's inner nightmares, the possibility of being trapped in a life she doesn't want, in an absurd cult, and in an existence where she loses her identity. This part, besides adding humor, adds psychological depth by showing the fears and anxieties the protagonist carries. Nicole's childhood, far from being a happy memory, is full of frustration and struggle, explaining many of her adult decisions and behaviors. The pressure to be the perfect daughter, academic demands, and lack of real recognition feed a narrative of silenced pain that the episode effectively conveys. 3. Harold's Timeline. The story continues with Harold's timeline, a relationship symbolizing the devastating impact of a toxic partner in Nicole's life. From the start, Harold judges and belittles Nicole with hurtful phrases like, "Your parents don't love you," deeply wounding her already fragile self-esteem. Their marriage quickly becomes a torment, where emotional abuse drives her to seek refuge in multiple plastic surgeries, trying desperately to escape her painful reality by changing her appearance. The episode portrays this painful process with a bittersweet tone, alternating between comic absurdity and heart-wrenching tragedy, especially highlighted when the house ends up engulfed in flames and Nicole is arrested, a drastic and shocking climax symbolizing the total destruction an abusive relationship can cause. This timeline not only exposes the toxicity of Harold and Nicole's relationship, but also how Nicole gradually loses control of her life, becoming trapped in a cycle of manipulation, self-doubt, and despair. The emotional violence she endures corrodes her identity, pushing her toward extreme actions that seem both desperate and futile. The mix of dark humor and tragedy reflects the complexity of her situation, where the blurred lines between reality and absurdity emphasize the surreal nature of abuse and its consequences. Furthermore, The episode does not shy away from showing the legal and social repercussions of such toxic dynamics, revealing how victims can become entangled in systems that often fail to provide clear support or justice. The narrative also highlights how emotional wounds are often invisible but deeply damaging, affecting Nicole's self-perception and mental health long after the toxic relationship ends. The scars she carries are not just physical or legal, but psychological, requiring empathy and understanding to heal. This segment powerfully represents the multifaceted nature of abusive relationships, intertwining personal suffering with broader societal challenges. Through its unique blend of humor and darkness, it encourages viewers to reflect on the often hidden realities behind toxic partnerships, the importance of recognizing emotional abuse, and the courage needed to break free from destructive cycles. 4. Instant tragedy. This section presents an even harsher and more direct timeline. Sal's story, whose fate leads to an abrupt and fatal ending. Without much explanation or narrative twists, Sal gets into a car driven by a man with only one thumb and no helmet, a detail that feels like an ominous omen. Sal's instant death is portrayed with an almost nihilistic and absurd style, leaving no room for character development or emotions. This segment breaks the usual pace and logic of the series, introducing immediate tragedy that shocks with its simplicity and harshness. This fragment can be seen as a brutal reminder that life sometimes offers no second chances or explanations. Amid the amazing world of Gumball's typical humor and exaggeration, this story stands as a dark counterpoint, confronting viewers with the reality of sudden loss and lack of control over destiny. Although brief and almost anecdotal, Sal's death adds a layer of darkness and reflection to the episode, emphasizing that not all stories have happy endings or detailed explanations, contributing to the episode's emotional complexity. 5. Clumsy love and everyday life. We return to Richard's story, where his clumsiness enters endearingly and humorously. Stuck in a log, feeding squirrels, Richard experiences a moment of innocent and authentic love. A scene contrasting with previous tragedies and humanizing the character. Nicole, instead of competing in the tournament, decides to stay with Richard and spend time together, a gesture marking the beginning of a relationship based on simplicity and mutual acceptance. The narration gifts us a montage full of tenderness and small everyday details. Swings in the park, watching clouds, Nicole's parents' harsh rejection, moving to a new home, and a wedding without family permission. Ramen dinners, pregnancy anxieties, and trauma related to the train intertwine to paint a realistic and moving picture of an imperfect couple struggling to build a life together. This story reflects the idea that true love isn't perfect or idealized, but full of obstacles, sacrifices, and awkward yet genuine moments. The humor here is softer, almost melancholic, showing how routine and small details can strengthen or wear down a relationship. Richard, with his innocence and clumsiness, not only brings comedy, but also constant support for Nicole, despite external difficulties. This segment balances the narrative between tragedy and hope, highlighting that love and family, though complicated, are fundamental to the human experience. 6. The chaos of a distorted reality. The story takes a surreal turn with the appearance of the Bananas, an absurd cult endlessly chanting, "Pizza, pizza, pizza," creating an almost apocalyptic atmosphere in Elmore. Richard, trying to escape the chaos, traps them in an endless loop, symbolizing how problems can trap us no matter how much we try to avoid them. The situation becomes even stranger when Nicole accepts that Richard's job has distorted reality, causing dogs and cats to live peacefully and the world to seem to fold onto itself. Nicole's decision to kidnap Larry, the pizza shop manager, to fire Richard and restore order is a desperate action, mixing dark humor with a critique of job insecurity and family stress. Richard's frantic driving alters the laws of time and gravity, and the character's transformation into humans with deformities and strange blinking creates a visually and narratively chaotic atmosphere, reflecting the family's emotional instability. This segment functions as a metaphor for the chaos caused by job insecurity and family anxiety, showing how a single event can trigger a chain reaction affecting all areas of life. The blend of absurd humor and social critique gives this part of the episode an interpretive richness beyond simple comedy, inviting reflection on pressures faced by modern families. 7. The supermarket fight. The scene at Elmore's Mall turns into an epic battle where Nicole unleashes unexpected strength and determination. Trying to load junk food into the car, Nicole faces a group of water sims in a fight almost choreographed like wrestling, but with the typical humor and exaggeration of the series. Her precision, speed, and aggressiveness surprise everyone, including Richard, whom she disarms and locks in a fridge as if he were a mischievous child. This moment reveals Nicole not only as a protective mother, but as a woman carrying the weight of keeping her family afloat, facing economic stress and social pressure with a mix of restrained rage and dark humor. The revelation that she's literally paid in peanuts emphasizes economic precarity and how this daily struggle impacts her mental and emotional health, painting a picture of silent sacrifice and resilience. The fight becomes a symbol of the everyday war many face in their homes and communities, battling for basics, confronting adversities insignificant to others, but a matter of survival for them. Nicole is the invisible hero who, despite exhaustion and difficulties, refuses to give up. 8. The family fracture. Family tension reaches a critical point when Nicole's parents appear amidst the supermarket chaos, bringing with them a whirlwind of repressed emotions, resentments, and open wounds. Nicole, shocked and vulnerable, faces a mix of reproaches and disproportionate expectations dating back to her childhood and adolescence. The conversation reveals how from a young age, she was pressured to achieve perfection, bearing responsibilities and roles that deeply marked her. The exchange with her parents exposes a broken family story where love mixes with demands, misunderstanding, and emotional distance. Heartbreaking flashbacks show Nicole pushed into non-stop clubs and activities, stealing her parents' car in a desperate act of rebellion, and facing the emptiness of a wedding they didn't even attend. These memories reveal the impact of a childhood shaped by unrealistic expectations and lack of genuine emotional support. The revelation that Nicole was legally called Doctor and the divorce papers exchanged between her and Richard symbolize a family that lost communication and empathy, trapped in cycles of pain and misunderstandings. Although painful, this segment shows that confrontation and recognition of wounds are necessary steps toward healing. 9. The breakup and forgiveness. After the intense confrontation, Nicole runs after her parents and says firmly, "I don't want excuses, just come back." This plea is raw and honest, revealing that although the emotional wounds run deep, the desire for reconciliation still burns within her. It shows that in families, no matter how much pain exists, there is often a fragile hope that connection can be restored. The hug that follows is charged with tension and long silences, a physical expression of the complex process of healing that cannot be rushed. It carries a heavy mixture of emotions, guilt for past mistakes, regret for hurtful actions, and cautious hope for a better future. Nicole and her parents don't erase the pain. Instead, they accept the possibility of building something different, imperfect, but real. The hug symbolizes the fragile truce between holding on to pain and embracing forgiveness. This moment captures the emotional heart of the episode. Growth through pain, the slow and uneven path to acceptance, and the understanding that family love is complicated and messy, but vital. Healing is never linear, and forgiveness means learning to live with scars and move forward. 10. Gumball's ironic comment. Just when it seems the moment might lead to heartfelt reconciliation, Gumball abruptly shatters the mood with a sarcastic comment. It was just emotional manipulation to get gifts. This biting remark humorously distills the complexity of family relationships, exposing how moments of affection are often tangled with self-interest, misunderstanding, or conflict. Gumball's comment works on multiple levels. It serves as comic relief, breaking the emotional intensity with a laugh, but also critiques dynamics that hide behind love. It reveals how families can use guilt or expectation to maintain bonds, complicating genuine emotions beneath. This final twist reinforces the episode's core message. Life and emotions are an imperfect blend of love and pain, misunderstandings and awkward silences, tears and laughter. Despite the messiness, these moments make relationships worth enduring, and humor helps face sadness and keep hope alive. 11. Darwin's heartbreaking and beautiful story. The Origin, consisting of episodes 20 and 21 of Season 4, is one of the most heartbreaking and beautiful of the series, as it narrates the emotional journey of Darwin, the sensitive soul and tender heart of the Wattersons. It all begins with a comical accident. Richard, in one of his clumsy moments, drops Darwin down the toilet, an act that triggers a loss transcending the physical and touching the deepest fibers of love and hope. The family experiences a mixture of despair and denial. Gumball clings innocently to the idea that Darwin will return, not by logic, but through unconditional love that defies any rational explanation. This pure faith drives the narrative and makes it moving. Meanwhile, Darwin is lost in a dark, unknown sewer system, facing loneliness, fear, and confusion. His encounter with a group of catfish, who initially mock him, marks a turning point. Darwin, with innocence and determination, states that love always finds a way. This simple but profound phrase encapsulates the message about the strength of love and resilience. The journey back to Elmore is a testament to struggle and overcoming. He crosses deserts, feeds on trash, faces dangers, and is on the brink of physical and emotional exhaustion. Each step symbolizes growth and transformation that can only be achieved through love and the desire to return home. The counterpart to this odyssey is Gumball's hope, who keeps faith alive in the absence, revitalizing Darwin. When he returns, the community's disbelief and rejection reflect the difficulties of being different and accepted after a traumatic experience. However, the reunion with Gumball, imperfect and full of scars, is a moment of pure emotion and tenderness. Darwin's phrase, "I don't know how, but I know why," resonates as a hymn to faith and hope, showing that sometimes we don't need to understand love, only live it. This episode, with comedy, tragedy, and magical realism, elevates the amazing world of Gumball, reminding us that love is complicated, messy, but always worth it, even if it means going through sewers and deserts. 12. The imperfect reunion. The moment Darwin returns to Elmore is not a triumphant return, but a reunion full of imperfections and challenges. At first, no one believes his story, and they treat him like an intruder, a stranger who does not belong. The community, with its prejudices and lack of understanding, tries to expel him, and Darwin is chased, sedated, and trapped, symbolizing the difficulty of being accepted after having been changed by a traumatic experience. However, the bond between Darwin and Gumball is unbreakable. When Darwin escapes and meets Gumball again, there is a moment of pure connection, where imperfections, scars, and even the sewer fish smell become symbols of a true love, capable of overcoming any barrier. This reunion is not a perfect ending, but it is authentic and full of hope. The phrase, "I don't know how, but I know why," encapsulates the magic of this episode and the entire series. Sometimes we don't understand why things happen, but love and faith in others are enough to keep going. Gumball, with his innocence and final song, offers a poetic conclusion, a respite for the viewer who has traveled with them through joy and pain. This episode is a reminder that human relationships are complex and that true value lies in perseverance, empathy, and the ability to accept others and ourselves with all our imperfections. Final conclusion. The Amazing World of Gumball is more than a comedy series. It is a mirror of human complexities where humor and sadness coexist. Through episodes like The Choices and The Origin, it shows us that family, with its fractures and reconciliations, is a journey full of imperfect love. These stories invite us to face pain with hope and to value the bonds that, despite everything, hold us up. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss more content about animation and everything related to Gumball. Which of these shows do you think is most like Gumball? Or do you think they're just coincidences? Leave your opinion in the comments. We love to know what you think. And if you want more videos with analysis like this, don't forget to turn on the notification bell to receive all updates. See you next time!